The world is a tapestry woven in shades of silver and black. The full moon is the sun of these human ancestors, casting low, sharp shadows across the cool grasses of the Pliocene savanna. For this kin group of nocturnal Australopithecus, the night is not a time of fear, but of clarity. Their eyes, enormous and dark, drink in the pale light, discerning the subtle twitch of a sleeping lizard's tail from 20 paces. Their broad, mobile ears pivot independently, building a three-dimensional map of sound: the rustle of a beetle under a leaf, the distant splash of a fish, the soft pad of a far-off predator that hunts other, less perceptive creatures. This is their domain. They move through the tall grass with a quiet confidence, their long arms balancing their bipedal gait, their fingers expertly digging for the starchy to burst that fuel their existence. The alpha female, her fur streaked with the grey of a dozen dry seasons, pauses. She lifts her head, sniffing the air. The scent is faint, but unmistakable. The clang, metallic tang of dawn. A low, urgent grunt ripples through the small party of 5. They have strayed too far. A particularly rich patch of roots held them captive, and in their focused work, they lost track of the moon's slow march across the sky. Pallid, cold and sharp, cuts through the calm of the night. Their shelter, a deep, defensible crevice in a rocky kopje, is a half-hour's desperate scramble away. They abandon their half-dug tubers and begin to run, their bare feet slapping against the cooling earth. They are too late. The eastern horizon ignites, a pale, cancerous line of light that bleeds across the indigo sky. The world of soft shadows and clear sounds begins to dissolve. Then, the sun's upper limb breaches the horizon, and their world ends in a blast of white fire. To their sensitive, rod-rich eyes, the daylight is a physical blow, a searing, agonizing blindness. The intricate tapestry of the night is instantly replaced by a featureless, painful glare. They cry out, shielding their faces, their primary sense now a source of torment. They stumble, disoriented, their internal map of the landscape erased by the sensory overload. A shadow passes over them. It is vast and utterly silent. One of the younger males, his eyes screwed shut in pain, senses the momentary dimming of the light. He has no time to react. There is no screech, no roar, only the whisper of air being sliced by immense feathers. Talons, thick as a leopard's claws, punch through his hide shirt. He is lifted from the ground with a single, choked cry. The others hear the sound, the sickening finality of it, but they can see nothing but the sun's white teeth. The great diurnal owl, the Ornime Galonyx, wheels in the sky above, its prey already silenced, its huge, forward-facing eyes perfectly adapted to the world that blinds them. The survivors scramble, crawling on all fours, seeking the memory of a nearby acacia tree. They find its meager shadow, a sliver of night in a burning ocean of day. Huddled together, blinded and terrified, they can only wait for the sun, their enemy, to die, and for their world to be reborn. The acacia's shade is a prison. For hours, they lie motionless, the blazing white sky a dome of terror above them. Every flutter of a leaf, every gust of wind, sends a fresh spike of fear through the huddled group. The memory of the silent attack is replayed in their minds, a ghost made more horrifying by their blindness. Their strength, their mastery of the night, is a forgotten dream. Here, in the daylight, they are nothing but prey. A future lesson in the science of taxonomy, the study of how organisms decay and become fossilized. Their survival depends entirely on the thickness of a few branches. As the sun crawls across the sky, a subtle shift begins in the alpha female. Her panic, her wild, useless fire, cools into the embers of a new kind of thought. Her eyes are useless, but her ears, those magnificent auditory instruments, are not, sheltered from the overwhelming light. Her other senses begin to reassert themselves. She closes her eyes, not against the sun, but to focus her mind. She begins to listen, not for threats, but for information. She can hear the buzz of flies, and by the pitch, she can tell if they are near or far. She hears the rustle of a snake in the dry grass, and from the crispness of the sound, she knows its location to within a foot. The wind, sighing through the acacia thorns, creates a complex chorus of whistles and hums. The bones of our human ancestors tell a story of physical adaptation. But the real epic of human evolution is written in these moments of cognitive breakthrough. She begins to make a sound, a soft, rhythmic tick with her tongue. The sound travels out, strikes the world, and returns to her ears as a faint echo. Click, echo, a nearby termite mound. Click, echo, a patch of hard, sun-baked turf.
The journey back
Click,
is slow and exhausting.
echo, a stand of
Step a
tall,
testament.
whispering grass. It is a crude, biological sonar. Her brain, with its highly developed auditory cortex, begins to translate these echoes into a ghostly, three-dimensional image. She is building a map made not of light, but of sound. This is an act of profound foresight, turning a passive sense into an active tool for navigating the world. The others, sensing the change in her demeanor, fall silent and listen. She begins to share her new language. A low grunt, followed by a series of clicks, pointing her head in the direction of the sound. She is teaching them to say with their ears. They are slow to learn. Their minds, accustomed to the rich input of their night vision, struggle with the abstract nature of the sound map. But fear is a powerful teacher. One of the younger females, her eyes tightly shut, begins to mimic the clicks, her head tilting, her ears twitching as she tries to decipher the returning echoes. It is a moment of fragile hope in the blinding glare. They cannot leave the shelter. They cannot fight the silent predator in the sky. But they are no longer entirely helpless. They are learning to navigate their prison, drawing the blueprints of an escape. One click, one echo at a time. The sun has taken their world, but they are beginning the slow, arduous process of stealing it back. The sun finally bleeds out on the western horizon. The agonizing white fades to a gentle orange, then a deep, soothing violet as the first stars appear. The world returns to them. Their vision, sharp and clear once more, feels like a resurrection. They emerge from the acacia's shadow, their bodies stiff, their minds scoured by the long hours of terror. The night, once a familiar comfort, now feels different. It is a refuge, but it is also a temporary one. The memory of their helplessness, the knowledge that the sun will return with its white teeth, has changed them forever. Their old territory is compromised.
They march side by
The route
side.
back to their main shelter a death trap. They must move, find a new home, and do it before the next dawn. This is the hard choice. To stay is to risk another ambush. To leave is to venture into unknown territory, filled with the night's more conventional predators. The alpha female makes the decision. She utters a series of soft grunts and gestures with her head, not towards their old home, but towards a distant ridge of hills, a darker silhouette against the star-dusted sky. The ridge promises deeper caves, better shelters. It is a gamble, a desperate play in the high-stakes game of prehistoric life. They begin to move, but they do not move as they did before. With an easy, confident gait, they move with a new, strange hybrid of senses. Their eyes scan the darkness for the glint of a predator's stare, but their ears and their minds are focused on the echo map. The alpha female leads, her tongue clicking a constant, rhythmic beat, a living sonar that guides the kin group. They are no longer just reacting to the world. They are actively interrogating it, projecting their will into the darkness. This is a profound shift in intelligence, a leap from passive perception to active exploration. A sudden, sharp cry from the rear. A juvenile has stumbled into a small, hidden ravine, his leg twisted at a painful angle. He cannot walk. For a moment, the brutal calculus of survival hangs in the air. To carry him would slow them down, endangering everyone. But the bond of kinship, the instinct for altruism, is stronger than the fear. The largest male, the one who saw his companion snatched from the sky, turns back without hesitation. He hoists the injured juvenile onto his powerful shoulders and begins to walk. His pace slowed, but his resolve unbroken. This entire evolution documentary, from the first hominid to the last, is built upon such moments of selfless community. They are a single organism now, a fragile chain of interdependence moving through the night as they reach the foothills of a new ridge. The eastern sky is already beginning to pale. They can hear, far behind them, the faint, questioning hoot of the great owl, waking with the sun. They do not look back. They scramble into the dark, welcoming mouth of a deep cave. Just as the first rays of daylight begin to scour the land they have left behind, they are exhausted. They are wounded, but they are alive. They have stolen the day. In the cool, damp safety of the cave, the clan sleeps. The blinding terror of the sun is a distant nightmare. They have found a new equilibrium, but it is a hard-won peace, paid for with a life and etched in the new language of echoes. Their journey through the daylit hell was more than a migration. It was a cognitive rewiring. The fossil evidence unearthed by paleontology can show us the shape of the skull, the size of the brain, but it cannot capture the precise moment when a mind, stripped of its primary sense, was forced to invent a new way of seeing. The development of echolocation was not a simple adaptation. It was an act of defiant intelligence, a refusal to remain a victim. This speculative chapter in the story of early humans suggests that our greatest leaps forward have often come not from our strengths, but from our most profound vulnerabilities. Our ancestors, whether real or imagined, were not titans. They were fragile, terrified creatures who learned to turn their fear into a map. We are their descendants, a species that has learned to see the invisible. From the echo of a distant galaxy to the subtle signals of a human heart, our technology has become our sonar, but the fundamental impulse is the same: to send a signal into the darkness, and to have the courage to listen for the echo. The night gives way to the day, but the truest world is the one we build in the dark. What happens when the map we create no longer matches the territory?